And everybody here knows Silverado came out with their 2014 Silverado. It addressed a lot of complaints that Silverados had in the past about hard plastic, small rear seat, just kind of a dated look, and they really knocked it out of the park on this one. So this is our double cab, not our crew cab. And I've given everybody a trifold. Some of the improvements: it's a quieter ride, has more power, it's better fuel efficiency. It's just an easier truck to operate. Some of the things that on the exterior, you got your bed cap is going to be standard. Problem I always had with my kids, and that starts somewhere. A lot of times my kids were running around when I was lowering the tailgate, and I was always worried about it falling on their head. You open it up, it has a spring that slows it down, and then when you get ready to close it back, it helps you to shut it. You've got your backup camera, it's standard now on everything above work truck. WT1, lock and tailgate, that's pretty standard too. Also, I grew up a Ford guy and liked Fords myself, but Ford trucks are up pretty high. The Silverado made it up a little higher. You had to have some help getting in it. Well, that was one of the complaints. The working man couldn't get in his truck, so they put these steps in the bumper, and they made the rail hole here as a grab. It's easy to get in, easy to get out. So, in addition, that you can order, a lot of guys like tonneau covers and tops on their beds. There's an LED light system goes underneath the rail here. My opinion is, when I get my new Silverado, I'm going to have those put on. It helps you with your cargo lights to see what's in the back. That's one problem I want to always face. On the tow assembly, you don't need a rat tail to tow your boat. The 4-finger flat plug-in comes standard right here below the big plug. Let's see. All new wheels. We redesigned our wheels. They're still alloy. On everything above the work WT1. I like these here. They have a chrome set up, and we've actually had trucks come in with 22. So it's not a common thing, but it's, a lot of our younger generation likes those big wheels. They spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel. Our first time we brought one of the crew cabs, I heard one of the Ford salesmen say, it sits up high, how can it possibly have better fuel mileage? Well, they changed the grill, made it more open. And it's an active management here. And they also put these bottom ear dams here, and they put a plate underneath to make it more aerodynamic. They also streamlined the mirrors and made the hood, although it's higher, it's more streamlined when you take it into the wind tunnel. So this one actually has a smaller air footprint as it travels through the air. And speaking of air and wind noise, it's probably the quietest truck that you'll ride in. One thing that's obvious to me, I've been here about 18 months, and really the entire time I've worked here, Matt's driven an F-150. As soon as we got the Silverado, we can't get him out of it. It rides awful quiet.
He doesn't pay attention very well, does he? But we see what we want to see, don't we?
The Silverado is a great truck. Now, come around to the inside. Did you get out of a 13 and into a 14? I don't know, man. I see that canoe hanging out of that truck an awful lot riding around.
Better do real good on this.
All right, if you get out of a 13 and into a 14, you almost don't know you got into the same truck. The interior is completely different. We went more technology friendly. The F-150's been, beating us in the technology-friendly aspect. If you'll look at the interior, we won the battle of USB ports. We have 5 USBs, 110 of plug-in, and 3 plug-in power plugs. On the storage, it's a well thought out. Chevrolet realizes everybody carries a smartphone, so they have compartment specific to carry your smartphone and keep it safe so it doesn't rattle around. You Bluetooth, you can plug in the USB. It's very connected to an iPad, an iPhone, a Droid, or a laptop. The storage, they've added double storage here to give you more room. I mean, it's very friendly to any aspect of the market. Let's see. We also won the battle of cup holders. You can carry in the crew, you can carry 8 bottles in the doors. They also added an upper tray for easier storage and for a better ride. Yeah. Let's see. What's that?
Front collision.
Well, and I didn't cover that when I was on the front. I got distracted talking about math. This truck here doesn't have the front sensors, but on 2 LTs and the LTZs and up, they have front park assist.
Okay.
So what you can, it's just like our Bolt and many cars we have out there. It senses a vehicle in front of you, and it'll warn you if you're too close to it.
What about side collision, like the mirrors that?
Well, it does come with lane departure warning, which you can turn it on and off. This one doesn't have it on it though.
Okay.
It also has the if you're approaching somebody too quick, this one doesn't have the forward camera. It's up. It would be up there in front of the rearview mirror. You can set it for far, medium, and close by. Far being the most sensitive. So, you're driving down the road, interstate at 85 miles an hour, and somebody's running 55, and you have it on its farthest sensor, it's going to beep it. It's going to let you know. And speaking of that, you can either have it audible so that it beeps at you, or it vibrates in the seat. And if you're approaching somebody from directly behind, it vibrates from both sides. And if you try to change lanes without using a blinker, if you try to go to the left, it buzzes to your left or beeps at you. Or if you do it to the right, it buzzes to the right or beeps. Let's see.
One thing I noticed this morning was I got in the truck and I had the e-brake on, or I guess Sela had put it on, and I got in it and I started going with the e-brake on, and it made a sound, the computer did or whatever, and it sounded exactly like you would think a car should make a sound if the e-brake was on. And I was like, immediately I knew the e-brake was on. I didn't feel it, but I knew it was on just because of the sound it made. It's kind of intuitive. I've never driven a car that had that.
On the powertrain, we've had a 4.8. That's actually what's in my truck. They've done away with the 4.8. Your basic motor is going to be your V6, the old 4.3. It's been around forever. My first Silverado had a 4.3. I put 150,000 miles on it. I basically traded it because I got tired of looking at the truck. It'll run forever. The next level up from the 4.3 is going to be the 5.3 V8, and now we're going back to putting the 6.2 into our trucks. We call them HD. The 6.2 is really kind of set up to compete. Dodge has the Hemi, and Ford has the V6 EcoBoost. The 6.2 will actually beat it in fuel mileage and beat it in towing. And if you ever put your foot in it, it'll certainly take on off and go. The 5.3 has great fuel mileage. and the 4.3 also does it. And they do it with the valve, the piston shut off, the cylinder shut off. We've had that for a long time. It's variable valve timing though, to give it lower end torque. And Kimsey and I were talking about this yesterday. It's high tech and it's engineering, but somehow they rotate the camshaft assembly just very little, so to give you out of the hole torque. And then as you begin to move and accelerate, it begins to rotate a little bit to give you more speed, a different kind of more horsepower, less torque. It's an engineering marvel. It's the same motor,
Is it pretty damn complicated?
but it's completely redone.
Sounds like it is.
One of the things we learned, we went to Barber Motorsports.
Crankshaft.
They borrowed some of the technology from NASCAR. The direct injection versus the tunnel injection, so that it shoots the gas straight into the cylinder. They also found that if you keep the piston cooler, that in NASCAR it gives it more horsepower or speed, but in the regular vehicle it gives you better fuel mileage. So they use a pump that shoots cooled oil up into the bottom of the piston. So that's industry leading technology.
Is that on both the 4.3 and the 5.3?
It's on all the motors.
Variable
Is it
valve
4.3?
adjustable cam timing is
Is that a big
cylinder deactivation is on 4.3 also?
Yeah, the V8 shuts down to 4, and the 6 shuts down to 3.
Wow.
Is that a 6-speed transmission? In the 4.3?
Reckon, well, other than getting inside and kind of tinkering with the technology, it's very similar to our Impala. But one of the reasons this truck is so quiet is they put triple door seals on it. And one thing I noticed when I shut this, I went and pulled it off a lot and shut it yesterday. It's how it, when it slams, it's just so tight. I mean, it's you know, and I know some people are going to get upset, but you always think of Mercedes as how strong and tough and how tight they are. When you shut this door, it's like a thump, and there's no noise. But the triple door seals keep out road noise. They've also put in standard from the WT1 up the rear wheel light. And if you'll run your hand around it, it's not a hard plastic. It is plastic. It feels almost like a wool sheet, but it's that's actually plastic. And
Like
if you
felt.
just take a hose and it'll rinse all the red dirt off, it comes off really easy. But it serves to quiet all the road noise that you encounter over the truck. They also have, it looks like a mud flap on the front, but that's a wind deflector in front of the rear tire. That was one thing they discovered in the wind tunnel, is that the rear wheel of the truck, as the wind came around and wrapped around it, that was a disturbance in the force. The disturbance in the wind. So they put these, they look like a mud flap, they call it a deflector.
Do they all come standard with that the wireless music streaming capabilities, the LT and up?
Everything from WT1, the WT1 doesn't have it, the base truck.
Marcus, good job on that.
Thank you.
Great job.
Any other questions?